Hey folks, welcome. It's Friday. Welcome to the Daily Dose. The other day I was golfing with my boys and I noticed something. When one of them hit a good shot, the other would look at them with envy. In fact, on the next hole, they would look at their brother who had just hit a really good shot and they would secretly hope that they shanked it into the woods. And when they did, when they hit that poor shot that landed in the pond, they would sort of smirk and grin. I thought about the jealousy that I witnessed on them and thought, oh, that's just kid stuff, until the very next day I was out golfing with a pastor friend of mine, and we pastors are just chronically poor golfers. And I watched him as he golfed. He was nearly a scratch golfer, and I was jealous, and I found myself wishing the very same thing my boys wished. I wished that he would shank one into the pond as well. You see, here's what I know. Jealousy isn't just kid stuff. And today, as we wrap up this series on enemies of the heart, we're going to talk about it. But before we do, would you do this for me? If you're watching on Facebook, would you share this post? Would you like it? If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the little bell so you get notifications. Or if you're watching on cable access, hey, why don't you share this with a friend? Share the Daily Dose with a neighbor. Maybe watch it with them next week. Hey, today we're talking about jealousy, and this entire week we've been talking about these enemies of the heart. There are these four enemies that have this way of getting lodged in our hearts, and they wreak all kinds of havoc in our lives. They mess up our relationships, and they even have the potential to mess up our relationship with God. And today we're going to wrap up the series by talking about jealousy, because jealousy says to us that God owes us. Imagine that. God owes us. You see, jealousy is this belief that there's an inequity that God could have remedied. If God hadn't made me so wide, then I could have fit into that bathing suit that my pixie little sister could fit into. If God hadn't given me male pattern baldness and hadn't made me so short, well, I would have grown up with more self-esteem. If God had created me to be more athletic, then I would have excelled in sports in high school and maybe even gone on and played in college. If God had created me smarter, then just maybe I could have gotten into med school or law school. You see, jealousy is grounded in one simple question, and that question is this: what was God thinking? What was God thinking when God made me? Because what God did for some people, we have this belief that God could have done for me as well, and it's not fair. Jealousy says it's not fair. God owes me. That's what's at the heart of jealousy. And we know it's an issue of the heart, because the people that you envy, that you are jealous of, do you know what? They can't do anything about your jealousy. In fact, if they were to try and help you with your jealousy, it would only make it worse. Like if my boys were out golfing and one of them were to go to the other and to try and help them with their golf game, do you know that right there on the golf course, World War III would break out right on the green? You see, the people that you are jealous of, they can't do anything for you. You see, jealousy goes straight to our hearts. We know it's a heart issue. It's an enemy of the heart because jealousy causes us to look at others, and secretly within us, we hope that others have setbacks. Those people that we envy, we hope they have blunders and failures in their life. And if unchecked, over the course of our lives, they can wreak all kinds of havoc. We never believe that we can have a safe relationship because we're constantly jealous. We're constantly envious. It leaves us unable to love others because others are always richer, they're always smarter, they're always more talented, they're always luckier than you are. There are all kinds of stories in the Bible. Cain was jealous of Abel. Esau was jealous of his brother Jacob. Joseph's brothers were jealous of Joseph's relationship to his Father. The Bible doesn't leave us high and dry. It suggests that there is a simple solution, really. There's a place where we can place our anxiety, place our jealousy, place our envy, our desire to be what we are not. In 1 Peter chapter 5, it says this, cast all your anxiety on him, on God, because this God of ours cares about you. You see, God seems to suggest to us again and again through the authors of the Bible that God has really big shoulders. And God can carry that burden inside of you, that burden, that fear that says, I'm not enough, that I wish I was more like my neighbor. In James chapter 4, we read these words, what causes fights and quarrels among you? Don't they come from your desires that battle within you? You desire, but do not have, so you kill. You covet, but you cannot get what you want, so you quarrel and fight. You do not have because you do not ask God, it says. When you ask, though, you do not receive because you ask with wrong motives, that you may spend what you get on your pleasures. You see, here's the interesting thing about God when it comes to our jealousy. God invites us to place it all on God's shoulders, to hand it over. But here's what you and I know. Even though we ask God at times, it doesn't mean that we're always going to get what we want. Because here's the truth about our jealous appetite. We can never fully fulfill our jealous appetite, our envy. It's absolutely impossible. But here's the question. Here's the question for today. Are you going to continue to try and fulfill that impossible dream you have? Or are you willing to hand it over to God? To say, God, in you, I am more than enough. That you created me, you knit me together in my mother's womb. Are you willing to hand it over? Or are you going to continue that endless journey to try and fulfill that empty space within you? You see, here's what I know. One leads to peace, and the other to endless frustration. So folks, hand it over. Hand it over to the one who created you, the one who knit you together, the one who's going to walk this journey with you wherever you go. Have a good night, folks.
Skies, maker of stars, holder of seas in all our hearts, artist of life, father of lights. When I'm with you, my soul ignites. You see my sin and love me the same. Breathe on my hurt and raise me again. Up from the ash, up from the dust, you're recreating us. I will not waste this day you've made. I will be glad. Rejoice. In the sunshine, in the sorrow, my soul rejoices. Hey! How can it be? You know my name, tamer of storms, who calms the waves. How can it be? I can't explain why you carry me in all my shame. You take my sin and all of my mess. As far as the east is from the west, everything changed. I stand amazed, my every breath is grace. I will not waste this day you made. I will rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. In the sunshine, in the trial, my soul rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. In the trial, in the trouble, my soul rejoices. Life is beautiful. are the color, life is wonderful. You are the wonder, life is beautiful. You are the color, life is wonderful. You are the wonder, life is beautiful. Rejoice, rejoice, in the sunshine, in the sorrow, oh my soul, rejoice, 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 in the trial.